gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, June 17th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you have, we thank you very much. We're also live on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We're live on that as well. X has been very good to us. And of course, we're up on all your podcasting platforms as well. It looks like a beautiful Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Hopefully everyone had a good Monday, survived their Monday, ready to rock and roll as we get ready for a brand new show here on a Tuesday. Coming up today on the show, in just a little bit, we're going to be joined by Ked Prince. Some Illini news broke throughout the last 24 hours, so it was a perfect time to catch up with Ked. Plus, on yesterday's show, we talked with Tom Kakert and Kyle Huseman and the thought of Iowa and Illinois not playing each other this year and what would happen. Tom Kakert quickly said, Iowa would win. So I wanted to get Ked's response on that and a whole bunch more. So we got some football, we got some basketball, and some golf as well to get to, because Ked Prince, part of the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing this past weekend as well. So Ked Prince, in a matter of moment for all you Illini fans and for all you Iowa fans that can't stand Ked, stick around. It'll be entertaining as always. We were hoping to have Cole Rusk today. Boy, we efforted. We efforted last night to record something with him. Again, this morning, we're going to have him try to go live. For some reason, it's just not working with his stuff. And it's crazy because Cole was the very first guest ever on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo way back on January 6th. So I don't know why. We're not sure why. We're still trying to figure it out, but we're going to punt on Cole for yet another day. But we're going to get him up here mainly because he led his team. He captained the Illinois team to another victory over Iowa at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing. So we'll get to Cole hopefully later this week. We're still working on it and all those kind of fun things. But that doesn't mean we have a lot to get to today. Coming up later in hour number one, Derek Stecklein, the head coach of Pleasant Valley baseball team, off to a fantastic start. Didn't play last night because of Mother Nature, which it looks like Mother Nature may be funky again tonight as well, and then once again all day tomorrow. So we'll catch up with Coach Stecklein here in just a little bit. And then later in hour number two, we'll be joined by Greg Armstrong. Got an announcement not to make, but to kind of tease with him coming up, plus some high school football news throughout the summer. So we'll catch it. And I told him we could talk about the White Sox. I don't know if I'm actually going to let him do that, but I told him we could talk about the White Sox, so we'll figure that out as well. So a lot to get to on today's show. As I mentioned, if you missed yesterday, Tom Kakert and Kyle Huseman were on. Also, Brad Maynard was on talking about a great event coming up. It's the Walnut 5K run or walk for ALS coming up on July 5th. I put that on my social media. Get signed up. It's a great event coming up to help raise money and fight the battle against ALS. So check out his story. It's an amazing story. And then help out, sign up, all those kind of things. So check out that. And also Dave Heller yesterday on the show as well. Good news is my voice is much better today. Bad news is I don't know how to talk. So we're trying to put two and two together and get things rocking and rolling. Some headlines from yesterday in the world of sports. The OKC is now up 3-2. They knocked off Indiana in Indiana to go up 3-2 in game number 5. Bad news for the Fighting Illini. We'll get to this with Ked in just a second, but Ty Rodgers suffered a knee injury. Brad Underwood met with the media yesterday. It sounds like Ty's going to be out indefinitely. We'll kind of talk about that with Ked, what it means when it comes to possibly adding more players this offseason, and how it affects the team, because that's a guy that had experience, played a lot of games, started a lot of games on a team that went to the Elite Eight 2 years ago. So we'll talk with him about that in just a little bit. Also, 2 Illinois standouts will be in the green room at the NBA draft. Both KJ and Will Riley invited for that as well. So bunch to get to with Ked here in just a little bit. The Element Pioneers, sounds like they have a new head football coach. That announcement set for 3 p.m. this afternoon. We'll have the new Element football coach on our show tomorrow, but the announcement, the press conference coming at 3 p.m. this afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on that, and of course have more with that in the days to follow right here on OTA. Couple interesting things too. Looking at a few things this morning, the Fever Liberty game was the 3rd most watched WNBA game on ABC ever. 2.2 million average, peaked at 2.8. And it's crazy because it's coming off, Caitlin being injured and the ratings declining. And then of course she comes back and they go crazy. And obviously great day for her. 32, 8 and 7 or something like that. 9 points in 38 seconds, which was awesome to see. So obviously Caitlin Clark making an impact in the WNBA, and of course the ratings for the WNBA as well. So a lot to get to on today's show, and we're going to start with a familiar face because there's always something going on with the Fighting Illini. And we're joined now by a familiar face, our Illini expert, Ked Prince. And before I get into the Illini stuff, I want to talk to you about, Ked, you didn't even golf in my outing, and then like the next day you almost get a hole in one. Like you were, what's going on here?
I try to let other people win, but next year I told you you're in trouble. I'm bringing the heat next year.
I love it.
I am. I try to be nice and to spread the love and wealth, have other people participate. But I'm back. My golf game right now. So it's really weird. The older I am, the better I get at golf. When I was younger, I stunk at it. I was horrible because I tried hitting it 400 yards every time, and now I've mastered it. So I'm pretty crafty, man. I've gotten a lot better, believe it or not. Even my kids are surprised.
Tell me, and nobody cares, but I care. You almost got a hole in one at Highland Springs yesterday or Sunday? Sunday?
Yeah. No, it was
Monday.
Yesterday.
Okay, Monday.
Yep.
Well, tell me about it. Come on, man.
So I go compete with my kids because they're very competitive, and I walk out there and I typically used to tee it up. I don't do that anymore because I'm confident hitting it off the ground. And I just walked out there. I didn't care. I just threw it on the ground and I hit it, and it was sweet. And my daughter Kenny was like, "Dad, that looks pretty good." And then it hit and it just rolled. And I'm like, Kenny, she started walking away. I'm like, Kenny, turn around. And it literally rolled right on top of the hole and rolled to the right. I mean, that's how close it was. It hit the hole and the flag and rolled 4 inches off. I mean, I was ready to jump up and scream, and I know I probably would have had to go to the hospital for doing that, but I was so excited, man.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you again for being there on Saturday. I want to talk a little bit about that because obviously, and you know these people, and obviously you're an Illini fan, but for as busy as college athletes are these days, especially college football players, for those 4 young men from Champaign to get done with a workout and bust hump to get back up here to do that, and the 4 young men from Iowa to do the same. I'm overly grateful, and you know how their schedules and how busy they are. It shows that young people are good people, if that makes any sense. I think it's cool that they both sides come and take the time to support an effort that we do out of the golf course.
Well, I'm going to include Mr. Charles from the university, who went to Alleman, who's not at Notre Dame.
Charles Jugosaw.
Yes, I'm going to tell you, I couldn't have said it better myself. What these kids do, and I know how hard it is, and I know they wanted to be there, but they also have other responsibilities. And for them to come down there, and once they're there, you can see they're having a good time. Last year it was great because they were right behind us, and I was able to talk to them on probably 10 to 12 holes. And this year they got there late because of football, at least the Illinois guys. And when you see these kids compete, man, it's really cool. But just talking to them, they're human beings. And like, as old as I am, and I've been doing this for over 20 years, seeing those kids and talking to them, I get excited. Like, I talked to the Iowa guys. They came to one of your holes. I think it was the very first hole where there was a contest hole, and we were talking, and they were like, "Hey, do you cover Illinois?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And I don't know how they knew. And we just started talking, and of course, the people that was in the group golfing, they started rolling their eyes. Two of them are Iowa fans. So I had to, take a couple of shots at them, and they laughed. I mean, it was really fun. They're just really cool kids. And to answer your question, it really is nice to see them bust their behind. They wanted to be there, and you could tell. And they tried. It wasn't like we're just doing this because we're football players. They had fun. They interacted with people, both sides. They're good kids. At the end of the day, we can do all the rivalries and competing all we want. They're good kids, man, and I really mean that.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And let's be honest. Well, first off, of course, the Iowa guys know who you are. You're public enemy number one in Iowa City. They literally have like pictures up of you in the football office and the complex saying, "Stay away from this guy." No, and for 2 years in a row, and now 2 out of 3. The Fighting Illini we've talked about on the show, how it finished, and the putt off and all those kinds of things as well. You got to brag a little bit and the best thing, Ked, and you know me very well, my kids are running around, and my 8-year-old is a big Iowa fan, and God bless him, he's talking crap to these like Illini guys. I mean, the football players, like, we hate Illinois, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up. But I just thought it was cool. The ILL afterwards. I loved Cole. Cole's like, I think when the putt went down, he said, "and still," which is awesome. And I think that's the cool thing is, yes, they know they're there for charity. Yes, they know they're there for fun. But those guys, both sides, when we went back to that putting green, Ked, it was like it was 2 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter of a football game. Those guys competed and they wanted to win, and I thought that was cool.
Well, this is a local show here, but I'm going to tell you, if I had a wish, I wish Cole Russ could have played football in Illinois for 4 years. He is a nice young man. His father, Steve, I know you're listening to the show, and you will be. You raised one hell of a kid. That dude is nice. He's professional. Some athletes, they're all nice, but Cole's just built different. And it was good to see them do that. And I know the competition because, when I was on one of the holes, I talked to some of the Iowa players, like I said, hole one, and about the rivalry. And I, of course, said that you guys, your athletic director, called the Big Ten commissioner because you didn't want to play Illinois this year, but you were scared. That was awesome. I said, because you don't want none. And they were like, yeah, everybody keeps saying that they're supposed to be good this year. And I'm like, no, they're going to be good this year. And it's okay to be behind Illinois in the rankings. That didn't sit well with them either, but it was fun. But anyway, it's a good group. It's a good time. You do a good job. And, next year, who's listening, my goal is, and I'm going to put this out there, is to get an Illinois basketball coach or football coach down here to golf with it. If you want to get one of your Iowa coaches to come down here and take another L, that's up to you. But I'm gonna bring. I know there's some good golfers down there in Champaign. I'm gonna tell you, I got 2 already in mind.
I love it. No, it is cool to see those kind of things. Now, you mentioned they don't play in football. And it stinks. And you and I, we agree on a very few things, but one of them is the fact that they should play every single year. But yesterday on the show, Tom Kakert's on here, and you weren't here to like pick at, but he thinks that if they played this year, Iowa would win. And I wanted to give you a chance to respond. What would happen if they did play this year?
Well, Tom's looking for ratings. I'm not. I'll just tell him the truth. He knows as well as I do. And that's okay to say that. But I don't gamble. I don't bet. I talk numbers, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to tell you, I would bet money on this one. I would really bet money. And I'll tell you, I bet the Iowa fans, some of them are probably glad that they don't play because I know they don't like losing to Illinois. They know how good they are this year. And it's obvious. Your speech, you gave 2 speeches at your golf outing, and you mentioned that yourself. You know yourself how good they're going to be.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to be good. They are going to be good. And it's okay if you're an Iowa fan and you're not used to it because I cover Illinois and I'm not used to it either. I mean, they've had some great years, but their recruiting right now, they're 8th in the country, according to one publication. They're ahead of LSU. They're ahead of Tennessee. They're ahead of Michigan. And I don't think they're going to be good or excited about that. And this is 2026. So I'm sorry, Tom. I love you, but you know as well as I do. if they played this year, I tell you what, you wouldn't sit there comfortably and think, okay, this is another win. I know that.
No, and that I think it goes to show how far the program's come. And I'm being 100% serious. I think it'd be a fantastic game, and it's something that as an Iowa fan growing up and as a fan of the rivalry in general, that's what makes me matter. Like, it wasn't as big a deal if it was, and we talked about this on the show yesterday. It's not very often that they're both good. And I think they're both going to be good this year. There's been times they played that 66-0 or whatever it was a long time ago. But that shows what Coach Bielema and the staff has done. Because while that seems like a long time ago, it wasn't overly a long time ago, and that's how far he's brought the program. So I think that's the frustrating thing, is because I think it'd be a really good game. You mentioned I gave 2 speeches, and I get a little gun shy because I don't remember the second one as much as I remember the first one. So I don't know if I said anything I wasn't supposed to say, but I think I behaved myself for the most part. So I want to talk a little bit more about football, and then I got some basketball stuff I want to get to you about, because the one thing you look at with football, and this isn't a negative, it's with everybody, I didn't think their schedule was as hard as it was. And then I went and looked at it, and it's a difficult schedule.
I told you that.
Yeah, and I think it might have been you. Yeah, like I thought that like it wasn't. So with that being said, as an Illini fan or Illini fans in general, they got to take, I won't say, tamper expectations, but in my opinion, it's just one game at a time. And it's cool because you can take that schedule out, and if you get to a week 5, I think it's a week 5 against Ohio State or something like that, if you take care of business, there's going to be some really big games early in the season for this team.
I've said it and I'll say it again. I don't want to be a negative Nelly or Debbie Downer. They could easily only win 7 or 8 games. They're going to be good, and that's the difference. They're going to be good. They're going to go out and they're going to compete against Ohio State. I know this, when Ohio State comes to Champaign, they're not going to walk in there thinking, okay, this is another gimme. That's where the program has come. I'm not saying that they're not going to win, and I'm not saying Ohio State won't lose to them, but their schedule is not easy. And for all these people think they're just going to roll in because they're going to be good, that's awesome. Now, I will say this. They could win 7. If they win 8 games, that's not a bad season. But the expectations are to win the college playoffs. The expectations are to win 9 or 10 games. I'm just saying, from what I see, because they have a bullet on their back and everybody wants to beat them now, and because they're a program that's up and coming. You look at Wisconsin. Pete Fickle wants to beat them because he's not. Illinois are in a better place right now. Purdue, is their allegedly rivalry. They're not. They want to beat them. Northwestern always gives them a tough game. USC has a great recruiting class this year and next year. So it's not going to be easy. I know fans think that they're just going to walk in, they're going to score 50 points a game. That's not going to happen. And I do know it's difficult.
A good example, my analogy, and I'm a Lions fan, is that the Lions have had a great couple years. They were 15-2 last year. I still think they're really good this year. Their schedule's so hard. They're not going to be 15-2. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't happen very often in the NFL. They could easily lose 3 games less than last year and still be a better team. And I can see that with Illinois. Like, Illinois won 10 games last year. If this team wins 9 games, no one should be disappointed. And I'm not saying that's the ceiling by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to take it. It can be a better team with a worse record at the end of the day, can it? Because of the schedule itself.
Let me give you an example. People don't believe this. This is my philosophy. When I go bass fish with my son, we argue because I think some of it's luck. I think when I hit that, opportunity to hit a hole in one, I think that's luck. You can be talented, but some of those things are luck. Yeah. Last year, Illinois got lucky. They went to Rutgers and had a game-winning drive that could have went the other way. They won. They played a horrible Purdue team that put up 50 points maybe. They could have lost that. What I'm saying to you is the ball bounced their way last year. It may not happen this year. Those are 2 games. So then instead of being 10 and whatever, you're 8-2 or whatever. So it can happen. There's some luck involved. And you have to be healthy. Don't get me wrong. Because there has to be a play or 2 here or there that's a game breaker. And the one that keeps ringing in my mind is the one I know you don't remember, but the Illinois fans who do know, there was a busted play They threw the ball to Pat Bryant, and you could see highlights because but Luke Altmaier was celebrating because it won the game for them. Those are things that you have to go right. And those are things that could also make a difference in how many games you lose this season.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of that. I will say this, you learn how to win. And while those lucky bounces go your way, and I get what you're saying, a lot of time you create that and you expect it. And I think for the first time in a while last year, like as an Illinois fans could expect, for a while you just expected it to go wrong. I'm a Lions fan, Ked. I know what you mean.
Yes.
I know the feeling. You're just like, okay, this is point. And it takes a while, going back to my Illini fandom, to like trust them. It's like a bad relationship where they've been wronging you for all these years. You expect them to wrong you in the end, and you have to like trust them. But I think fans and I think players, and I think that's what Brett Bielema has done a great job with, is it's now an expectation that, if you keep games close, you're going to win those games. And you're going to hate this. That's the Iowa way. Like Iowa, that's what Iowa does. Iowa plays well, stays in games, and then figures out a way at the end. And I think that's what Illinois is doing. I think they can continue it. The schedule's super hard. I get that, but give yourself a chance at the end. And those guys, and talking to them this weekend, and you talked to them too. I talked to them a lot after the event about like expectations, and they expect to be good. They expect to make those plays. So it should be a fascinating season down. Dude, it's right around the corner. Like it's mid-June right now. Yeah. It's coming fast.
I'll tell you what, just real quick. The thing for me covering them, to have an opportunity to win. I've always said that about the University of Illinois. It has been a basketball school because I know damn well in regards to what happened, Brad Underwood's going to go out there and they have a chance to win. They have a chance to win every time. Shauna Green, the women's basketball coach, a Clinton native, she's done the same thing. They're going to go out there and Lisa Bluter said it when she was at Iowa. The days of going down to Champaign, rolling over are done. And Brett has done the same thing with football. If you have a chance to win, that's what I think fans want. That's what the media wants. They don't want to see a team that like when Lovie Smith was there. I thought it was a great hire. When they got beat 66-0, it reminded me when I was 18 years old, I was throwing remotes and kicking TVs and being kicked out of my parents' house because I was frustrated. There's not a sport down at that university right now that I feel that way. I know regardless of who they play, when they play them, they're going to have a chance to win. I feel the way. And that's the expectation that Brett has changed, the narrative. Yeah. These kids, they believe in it. And that's what you want. That's half the battle. Is to know that you have a chance to win. No disrespect to Lovie Smith. When he was out there, I didn't think they'd lose 66-0. Or when they went to Penn State and lost all those games, they didn't have a chance. I watched the games because I had to cover them. Now it's fun covering them because they put a product on the field that has a chance to compete.
No, I completely agree. You mentioned Shauna Green. I'll let people know right now. Shauna Green most likely will be on the show this week. Trying to get things figured out today, but hopefully Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, someday this week. Shauna Green on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. And I think that's a cool thing too, because the Quad Cities has two, and I group Clinton in with that. Don't yell at me. And I group Erie, Prophetstown. You'd be surprised how many people get mad at me about that. But our area has two of the top Illinois head coaches in the programs, and that's kind of cool. I want to talk to you quickly about basketball because Brad Underwood talked to the media yesterday. One thing we found out, Ty Rodgers, serious knee injury. What do you know about it, and how does that affect things moving forward?
He's out indefinitely, and that's scary. When a coach tells you that, there's some major concern for it. I feel bad for Ty, number one, because he redshirted last year, and I know his expectations, and he put the work in, shooting the basketball and to help Illinois come back to win games. And I don't know how long it definitely is, but it was a surprise, when Coach mentioned that to the media yesterday. I just hope it's not long-term where he misses another year. He's a big piece of what they have coming back, and that's why they wanted him to come back. So I'm not going to, put out his personal information. That would be unprofessional for me to do, and I have to go by what Coach Underwood said and stick to his statement, and that's what I'll do professionally. Am I concerned? Yes, I am. But, then again, there's a possibility where that indefinitely work could be taken off and he may get to come back. But I do know they need him. They look for his leadership because he's one of the older guys. And he was a guy that I was excited about because he played last year. He was on a final eight team 2 years ago on a final eight team, and he started every game. Losing him is huge if he's gone for the season.
And we talked a lot about being older, Ked. That helped. I mean, and he had that body 2 years ago. He had an old man. It's a physical game and a winner too. So yeah, we hope everything's fine with Ty Rodgers as well. What else did you take out of Brad Underwood? What he talked about? I know he said there's an opening, and maybe now I don't want to say maybe two. Who knows what's going on with Ty? But obviously down a player for the short term, and then there's still an opening. Do you expect? It sounded like he said basically we have room for another player, but we want to get the right player. It made it sound to me like they're good to go with what they have unless something falls on their lap. You know a lot more than I do.
I've heard a couple of interviews, and I've been lucky enough to have a chat or two. 3-4 weeks ago they were done. The roster was what it was, but Illinois is competitive, and they have a lot of contacts. Now I do think they'll probably go look to add another player. I've not confirmed that with anybody. I do know it was always a possibility, but now and if they go get a player, they don't want to put a player out there who's just a roster filler. And what that means is to put a player out there just because, who can't help them. They recruit players that they really believe can help them and help them win games. And I don't know how that's going to happen at this late stage in the season, but it is, because last year they got Kasparis late, Yakashonas late, and they got Will Riley late. So it's a possibility that they could go out and get another player. Some kid may reclassify. You never know.
And think about the two you just talked about, Will and KJ. Were late ads, and now they're both going to be in the green room for the NBA draft. Ked, as an Illini fan, I mean, it's about winning games and championships. I get all that. But if anyone doesn't think that it's a big deal to get your guys to the NBA and it doesn't make a difference to recruits, to people, to the program, it does. And they're going to have two guys in that green room. When you hear about that, what goes through your mind? And that's a huge feather in the cap for Brad Underwood, isn't it?
Well, what's really weird, what goes to my mind is I remember one day when the Oven Complex, when Brad Underwood first got there, I was sitting on the end down by myself and watching the practice. I wasn't being a loner. I just wanted to watch, and I had to be distracted. Coach Underwood came down and sat next to me, and, we talked a little bit about X's and O's. And here's what he said to me. And this has been years ago, so I think it's safe to say, Kid, I want to win titles. I want to win Big Ten championships. I want to win Big Ten tournament titles. I want to win 20 games every year. I want to recruit well. I want to go to the NCAA tournament. I want to win whatever, all those things. Then he said to me, this is weird, and I'm answering your question. I want to have guys where I can recruit and put them in the NBA. Then I want to have guys that I can recruit and put them in one and done. Look at that checkbox that I just mentioned to you and tell me he's not getting it done, because he is. He said those things to me because if I'm doing that, I'm doing my job, and then we're going to be successful, and then we're going to be one of the better programs in the country. Then he made the comment to me, I won't run from competition. We can lose 5 games in non-conference against high-quality opponents. Illinois is going to be a program where people want to play, and now they are. So they're competing. His goals, he accomplished them because of the Big Ten tournament championships, final 8 run. He's had a chance in the NBA, Iowa in the NBA. Now he's going to have 2 first-round draft picks in the same year. Like him or not, that dude is a winner and expectations. I mean, 2 guys in the green room at the same time in one season. That also bodes well for Jeff Alexander and Orlando Antigua and Tyler Underwood and Zach Hammer, those guys who recruited those kids. It's a good program. Whether you like it or not, it's a good program. And by the way, they're recruiting a kid from Iowa, from Waukee, Iowa. His name is Colin Rice.
Yeah.
Kid is a stud. I talked to him last week. How would Iowa fans like to see that? They would not be happy losing a kid like that to Illinois. That's how good recruiting is.
You just mentioned him. I did a podcast for the Hawkeye Report last night, and it's up right now. You can go listen to it. Tom had some recruiting news, and he brought him up as well. We talked about him because he said he's been Illinois is after him, Nebraska's after him. Get this. So his girlfriend is Peyton and Price Sanford's sister. So you're telling me Price isn't sitting there saying, hey, go to Nebraska, and then same time Peyton's still a Hawkeye. not playing still, but he graduated from Iowa, so he's pulling him in the Iowa direction. And then Illinois, Ked, I'm going to tell you this though, and you can get mad at me. If you're a high school kid, why are you going to Illinois? You're going to get recruited over. You're going to get transferred over, right?
What? Okay, time out.
What's the last?
Okay.
Besides Will Riley, and that's the upper echelon recruit. You're like transfers. Some European guy is going to come in and play for you.
Okay. Two
right?
things. First of all, let me tell you this: the Sanford girl. I coach golf, high school golf, and a golf team here, and I'm gonna tell you that Sanford girl is unbelievable as a golfer.
Is she?
When I found out, yes, man, that girl is a champion.
You know, they all can
So
golf. They can all those Stanfords can golf.
She's tough.
Wow.
But to answer your question, no, Illinois, they're recruiting players from overseas, but they have two high school players right now on their roster. That's on their roster right now. Both of them, Keaton Wagler and Brandon Lee, were Player of the Year in Kansas and New Jersey.
One of them will be gone next year.
But that happens everywhere. You can say that, but that happens everywhere. But my point is, they're still recruiting high school kids. And I just said the Player of the Years in their prospective states. So, yes, they're still recruiting high school kids. That doesn't mean that they're going to recruit over them, because I guarantee it, one of them, okay, let's say, for example, they don't recruit another player. I think the Lee kid is probably going to play anyway. Well, now his playing time may increase. Because of kids from Iowa, I'll tell you what I do like about the Illinois staff. If they recruit a kid from Iowa and they know they're going to go back to that well again, that kid's going to play. Because some people were mad that Kendall Gill's son went to Northwestern. I'm impressed because if Illinois would have recruited him and brought his name is Phoenix Gill to the University of Illinois, he doesn't play a lot and he fails, that looks bad on the staff.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in a situation. So why would you recruit a kid in Iowa that typically always go to Iowa State or Nebraska or Iowa and then burn that bridge?
Have you seen him play?
He's going to play.
Have you seen him play?
I've seen not games. I've seen highlights, and Tom was the one that first told me about him.
Yeah.
So then I started doing a lot of research on him, and whether Iowa fans like this or not, that kid likes Illinois, and he gave me some great quotes about the program. One of them was, "They got it going on down there, and they're one of the best programs in the country." Think about that. This is a high school kid from Iowa talking about it, and he wants to come on a visit. He's excited about that part of it. So times have changed, man. It's not like it used to be in the 80s, and where kids from Chicago didn't want to go to Iowa, and Iowa wouldn't even think about Illinois.
Ked, and I know nothing about nothing. I just know stuff that Tom tells me, you tell me, nobody knows. I will treat you to a round of golf if Colin Rice goes to Illinois.
I'll tell you what. That's a good opportunity and it's a good offer. But I will tell you this: no matter, how about you make this bet?
No bet. Like, you don't have to return.
Well, this offer. This
Yeah.
offer. They will be in his final two. I can assure you that. They will be if Duke came in Kentucky, and because he just was in the top 100 camp last week.
Oh, well, do you think he's blowing up even bigger than just like Iowa, Nebraska? Do you think Blue Bloods are coming around?
Think about it. He just was invited to the top 100 players camp in the country last week. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And so if you think other offers aren't going to come, they will come. I'm not saying that he'll go to those schools, and maybe he will go to Nebraska. I just know the conversation I had, and I know the difference when kids are just trying to stroke my ego because I cover Illinois. This dude did his homework. He mentioned the Sanford kids. He mentioned to them because he knew they were going to go to school there. He mentioned their names. That kid is interested in Illinois. That's why I'm saying to you, I would take that offer because I know he should be on a visit sometime this month.
I just want to go golf with you. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to figure out an excuse to go golfing. And if I tell my wife, hey, I owe Ked a round of golf, she has to let me do it. If I say, hey, I need to figure out a way to get rid of the kids so I can go golf with Ked, that doesn't look as good. So I'm trying to see, it's about using angles here, right?
Yeah, I need to get out with you and Tom to golf. I haven't
Plus,
done it
you're over here you're over here at Highland all the time, right?
Yeah, my daughter and I, we bought memberships. Because golf is expensive, man. It's like $60. You buy a membership. I'm in the summertime. My job is very flexible in the summertime. I don't want to put out there what I do, but I work with some great people. I have the summers off. So why go spend $60? You pay a little bit of money. I'm going to golf today. I've golfed every
Good
day.
for you.
I golf 4 or 5 times a week now, and I fish the other 2 or 3 days. That's what I do. I'm enjoying time with my kids, man. So I don't have to answer to a queen like you do, and your wife's a beautiful lady. But I just have to answer to my kids and my grandson. So
Yeah.
they let me do whatever I want.
No, I love it. You know what's funny? I think if I had a dime for every time I told people on Saturday who hadn't met my wife or whatever, like they look at me like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what her she's brilliant except for her choice of men. Why she ended up choosing me is beyond me." So, well, hey, I don't want to keep. Are you going to Highland today?
At 4:00. Yep.
I'm gonna.
really
Hey,
am.
just so you remember these days, I got 3 baseball practices and a basketball game to deal with today. So
I remember that.
you remember that stuff. So enjoy your day golfing.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for being part of Saturday. I love that you were back out there. We had a blast. Everything went great, and we'll catch up again real soon. I appreciate you, Ked. Hit it straight today.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, that is Ked Prince, always informative when it comes to the Fighting Illini. And once again, obviously one of the best golfers in the entire world, almost a hole-in-one the other day as well. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Saturday night, June 14th, the Steamwheelers face off against the Parade in an IFL battle that's going to rock the vibrant arena. And it's Digital Bobblehead Night, presented by XUSD Blockchain. All fans in attendance with an active MetaMask digital wallet will score a limited edition Steamwheelers NFT bobblehead, a one-of-a-kind collectible you can't get anywhere else. High-flying IFL action and digital collectibles? Now that's next-level game night. Grab your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run, July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday, and Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. It's hard to believe the John Deere Classic nearly here. Can't wait for JDC week. Of course, we'll do plenty of stuff from out at the John Deere Classic coming up 2 weeks, 3 weeks from right now, something like that. It is coming really, really, really fast. Thank you guys for watching here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Of course, high school sports during the summer kind of slow down a little bit, but it kind of gives us the opportunity to focus on the baseball fields and in the MAC, baseball and softball fields. And one of those programs we're always talking about is at Pleasant Valley. We're joined now by the head coach of the Spartans, Derek Stecklein, joining me right now. Coach, first and foremost, thank you for doing this. It's those hot summer morning and some goofball says, hey, come be on my show. I appreciate you taking the time.
No, thanks for having me, Matt. Really appreciate it. First thing I'm thinking of is, gosh, I got to find my way to get on the links with you. It'd be a good morning for it, a little hot, but we'll take it anytime we can get some warm weather around here.
I love it. You know, and I just said it to Ked, but any excuse I can get to go golfing, and you know the challenge in life, any chance you can get to get that excuse. So we'll do that. We really will. You got other stuff to focus on besides golf because you're in the dog days of summer when it comes to high school baseball, undefeated in the MAC. We got a big matchup tonight. Because of the rain last night, kind of moves it tonight, and I want to get to that in a second. But you've got to like what you guys have done so far. I think 16-2 in the season, 8-0 in the MAC. Maybe the numbers are a little off there or whatever, but really good start. What have you liked about your team so far this season?
No, you're spot on. More than anything is enjoy seeing guys compete. We knew, obviously, coming into this year that we returned a lot. We only ended up with having 2 seniors last year, and that means a lot of young guys had experience. So going into this year, you know, obviously you're a year further on. Guys adjusted, guys adapted, guys continued to get better, and that's paying off this year. Got a really good senior class, a really good group of leaders, and young men who want to do well. You know, they have high expectations, and we have high expectations for them, and right now they're living up to them. So it's been a lot of fun. Guys are having a lot of fun. We got guys playing hacky sack in between innings, and guys eating together and doing all those things. And that's usually a big question at the beginning of the season. How's the team going to mesh? And these guys are doing a great job. So just been a lot of fun here early on.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about the talent coming back. The expectations were high. You went to state last year, and lost in the quarterfinals, but you probably knew at the end of last year, you hate losing, always do, but you had to be excited knowing that they got that experience and you get a lot of those guys back. What was the offseason like, knowing expectations were going to be there, but talent and experience is going to be there as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's always a good feeling to have, right? When you got a seasoned group coming back, and you said it, you hate losing, but we try to frame it same thing, like, well, what can we learn from this? You know, last year, obviously losing there, well, not that it was a great thing that happened, but I think that is something that this group has carried on to this year. We were there, felt like we had a chance in that game. We were up 3-2 going into the bottom of the 6th inning, and you know, things like that. So you hate to lose, but they got a taste of it. And whether cliche or not, you hear coaches say that all the time. We got a taste, now we need to go get the whole thing. You know, so that's been really good. And even early on this year, you know, we're 16-2. Well, maybe our guys aren't watching this, but I think those 2 losses are actually a benefit to us. And we talk about learning from those losses and learning from different experiences. And I think both those have been great learning experiences for us. So not that everybody would like to go undefeated, obviously, and win the whole thing, but sometimes those losses make us do things a little bit better and help us in the long run.
Coach, what do you mean the guys aren't watching this? This should be required to do every day. Go lift, go watch the show, go hit batting practice. You got to work it in the routine. Help a brother out, man. Jiminy Christmas. So
hey, we'll do our best. I mean, you're right. Your boys are getting close to this age as they get up, but I think these guys are probably on about nap time right now. You know, we had our morning lift in here today, and whatnot, I'll put a plug in for you. I'll do that and see what we can do. Get that viewership up a little bit for you.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that because my high schooler just got home from a workout and he's kind of chilling for a little bit and he's got another one and then another practice. It's just, the grind. It is a grind for all the high school athletes, especially during the summer. Talk to me about the MAC, because I know that we talked a little bit. We probably put cart ahead of horse when it came to like expectations and hopes of state and last year and all that kind of stuff. But the MAC conference gets you guys ready each and every year, which I think is great. And it's always a dogfight, and it's always there's those normal teams that you see, and one of those teams has become Davenport North. A big game with them tonight, but done a great job with the program over there. And I know that you guys are maybe disappointed you didn't get it done last night, but expecting a great doubleheader tonight with Davenport North, who sits, I think, 7-1 in the conference.
Yeah. It's right now it's us and them, and tonight will tell us quite a bit. I was actually just texting with Coach Karstens here, and we're trying to figure out, well, what are our chances that we get it in tonight? Because I think there's a little bit of rain in the forecast, so we'll see. But they've done a great job, man. They have some really good players over there, and I think Coach Karstens does a great job of getting them ready to play. And yeah, over the last few years, it's sort of been us and them going at it a little bit, and so it's fun. It's fun. Obviously, they've had some really good players that have played for a few years. Same thing, us, and I think one fun thing about the MAC, we have our Davenport schools, we have our Bettendorf schools, all those, and throwing in, obviously, Muscatine, Clinton, and Assumption, but it's like our players all know each other. Just being close, that's not necessarily something that I grew up with or grew up around, and just everybody knows everybody, whether they train with each other in the off season or they go to the same pitching guy or hitting guy or whatnot, or just playing on the same travel team at some point or another. So it's good to see that, because I think when you're going up against some of your friends or people, the competitive fire comes out a little bit more. You want to do better. You want to go get that guy out. You want to strike him out. You want to get the hit off him, whatever it may be. So I'm looking forward to tonight. I think our guys are ready, and I'm sure they will be too. So it'll be a fun environment and fun experience.
Yeah, let's keep that rain away. I want to talk to you about, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's still the only state in the country that does baseball during the summer. And it's so weird. So people would always ask me, like, hey, do you like it? Well, we did, like, media-wise, because it gave us a chance to spotlight something during the summer and give them the love that they're not going to have to fight for during the spring. Also, in my opinion, and you may be able to back this up, but it gives athletes an opportunity to do more things. Those guys that are doing something during the spring can do baseball and all those kind of things as well. I guess my long-winded question is, are there pros and cons in your eyes to play in summer baseball? What are the things you like about it? What are the things that you don't like about it when it comes to being the only state in the country that still does it?
I absolutely love it. I'm probably one of those traditionalists a little bit. I grew up in Iowa, from Iowa, and that's when you're supposed to play baseball. You're supposed to play baseball in the summer. I think that everyone's like, well, you got to get it moved. You got to move it to the spring. Well, you talked about it's maybe not as much for us as a bigger 4A school, but when you look at other programs and other places around the state at all levels, like, you need all those athletes. You need them to play everything. You need them to do everything. And I want our guys to be multi-sport athletes. It's one of the things I believe in, trying to make them multi-dimensional. And more than anything, for me, it's a competition thing. I tell our guys a story of me running track in high school, and that was one of the sports where it's like, hey, it's me running versus whoever is running against me. And it happened to be a kid who was going Division I in basketball, and let's say he's 6'6". Well, his strides are a little bit different than my strides, and it just teaches you to compete in different ways, whatever sport that may be. And we've moved up the season a little bit. We added that family week in the back end of it, and I have really good buddies who are from Minnesota, they played like 16 high school baseball games. Now Legion ball is a big thing up there, but I also think it's a big thing growing up in a community, playing for the school system that you've been a part of. I think there's a lot of pride in that. And quite frankly, too, I don't know how much I want to be coaching baseball games in March. I'm a fair weather fan here. If I'll take 90 any day I can get it, and have sweat beating off my arms to be able to play summer baseball. And the cons of it, everybody talks about the recruiting aspect of it. That might be a little con in it, but I'm also a pretty big believer with everything else that goes on, whether that's fall baseball or guys being able to go to a camp here or there or whatever that may be. I think if you're good enough, there's a place for you. Yeah. Somebody will find you, whether that's the junior colleges in the state. We got a junior college who was going to be there last night. I think he's coming again tonight. And, they're able to get out and see us on a Monday or Tuesday night where they got limited travel. And then they're still able to go to their big tournaments on the weekend somewhere outside of the state. So I think our guys are still able to be recruited. And I think there's really good schools in Iowa that can recruit you. I mean, you talk about the junior colleges in the state of Iowa and the conference between Kirkwood, Southeastern, Iowa Western, Nyack, DMAC, Iowa Central. There's just a handful of them, and they continue to be good every single year. And that's a pretty good option when we have junior colleges in our state that do a really nice job. And they get players every year who are going on to Power 5 conferences. And even you talk about the Division IIIs or the NAIAs in the state, they do a really nice job. Co has been really good the last few years. I think Warper continues to get better. I'll give my little plug for Coach Klunder because he was coaching at Waverly when I was in high school and everything. I just think there's some really good programs in the state of Iowa, and maybe you get hurt a little bit recruiting, but I still think that those schools, they'll come and find you. I think they do a really good job of getting out and recruiting Iowa high school baseball. So I'm a lifer for summer baseball in the state, and I don't want it to change. I don't know how long I have. If we move it to March, I'm going to have a tough time wearing that winter coat.
No,
so.
I get you. We used to, and I cover baseball in Illinois all the time, and my son plays and all that kind of stuff. But it was the worst to grab that camera and the tripod and go out there in early April, rainy, blown. And like the thing too is the parents don't even want to be there. Like I'd look around and I'd be like, there's only like 10 people here because the parents don't want to go. And you do see a MAC Monday night doubleheader. You get a nice crowd, like a big, now it's not might be there the whole time, but by end of game 1, beginning of game 2, you get a really nice crowd there as well. When it comes to the recruiting stuff, Coach, they're going to find you. Like there's so much travel baseball and you have plenty of, like, they're going to find it. And you got to give we got a little shout out to Blackhawk too, because they're right across the river too. And they do a fantastic job developing players and all that kind of stuff as well. No, I agree with you. We're worried about a little bit of weather tonight. That's a lot easier than worrying about 40-degree cold with flurries kind of day. So, Coach, I want to talk to you about your team a little bit before I let you go off the field. You talked about the hacky sack, and I think in baseball more than any sport, a team's personality shows more. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's more important because there's those downtimes. There's between innings. It's not constant go like basketball or football. What are these guys like? Are they, and what's the vibe like? You mentioned they go to eat together. It seems like you're pretty excited about the chemistry, to use another cliche, the chemistry of this baseball team.
Yeah, I mean, that's every year. It's a new group. You know, you got guys who obviously were there the year prior, and then you get new guys who are a grade older. And every year it's sort of the biggest thing, you know, well, I think we have talent. We've been fortunate to have some really talented player and skills, but when it comes down to it, how do they play as a team? Are they all playing for their own accolades? Are they playing for themselves, whatever it may be? And, this is just a group. And I think it's sort of just the trickle-down effect of what are our seniors like? Because then those juniors, those new guys to the varsity scene, they figure it out too. Well, who am I? Who are we? What is Steck going to yell at me for doing this? What maybe some advice they get from the upperclassmen. But honestly, they're a goofy bunch, and I think baseball players in general are a goofy bunch. Just a little bit. You talk about downtime. Well, they got to find something sometimes to keep themselves busy.
Yeah.
And this year, it's sort of that hacky sack has taken its own sort of name, and it's in between innings. We got umpires telling us to get off the field, and it's like, just let them have a little fun, and there's levels to all that. We're a fiery bunch, maybe a little bit too fiery. I had an umpire yelling at me, screaming at me in the third base coaching box last week, and I'm thinking, gosh, what are you yelling at me for? And he's telling me I got to get our dugout in line a little bit. And honestly, I had no idea what they were even doing.
That's not a first, is it, Coach? First, why do I think last year in the postseason, or either late in a maybe a rivalry game, maybe I won't say the name of the school.
Just maybe. Let's just say after last week we had a conversation about if I'm going out, it's going to be on my terms this year compared to some of them in the past, and we try to have some fun, but also know it's about us and cheering for our guys and some of that stuff. But sort of the identity of us is, we're going to play loose. We're going to be competitive. We're going to be gritty. We're going to do what we have to do to find a way to score some runs. But it's been really good just to see the guys mesh, see the guys play well, see the guys revolve around each other and play for each other. That's one of the fun things that I don't think we have any drama so far anyway. And, things are going well, and that usually leads to some success.
Last one before I let you go. I love to ask some of the athletes, like, what's your superstition if you are superstitious? I feel like baseball players more than anybody are the most superstitious. Does your team or your Smiling or yourself have any superstitions that you'd like to tell us about, game day wise or any other?
I don't think I have any. I was actually watching. I probably do. If you ask somebody else, I probably do. But I was watching the just College World Series, obviously on right now, and we tell our guys all the time, hey, you got to go watch baseball. Go watch these guys play. Go watch their routines, all these things. And I'm going to screw it up because I'm not going to get it right. But NCAA baseball tweeted out something about asking all the players, well, what are your pregame superstitions? What are some of the things you do? And I think it was one of the Louisville guys and I'm going to screw this up, but he said, we don't have superstitions. We just have winning traditions or something like that of doing things right now. Like, all right. Well, you got Dan McDonald there feeding that to you as the old head coach. But, we got, I don't know. I don't think I have anything. I sort of try to say, hey, the guys are the ones playing the game, so I don't need to do anything idea. But I'm sure if you were asking the guys, they might tell you. And I guess maybe this isn't a superstition, but to start almost every baseball game, I yell, expect the baseball to our defense. And they're like, Steck, the only times you ever yell that is when you're nervous. And it's like, well, I yell it every single game, so I guess I'm nervous every single game. But for me, it's something to try to get them to focus. They hear me yell that. They're like, okay, now here's the time for me to lock in a little bit defensively or whatnot. But I don't think anything too superstitious. I'm a big play the game, let the guys play the game, and they're the ones who are out there. So hopefully we prepare them well and put them in situations where they can be successful. And so far they're making us look good. So that's always a good feeling when they make us look good.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully you get 2 games in tonight. Keep watching that radar. Best of luck. It should be a great doubleheader. That's over at North, isn't it?
It's at North, yep.
It's at North. So if anybody out there today looking for some really good high school baseball on a June Tuesday, head over to Davenport North, doubleheader 5 o'clock, and then second game follows. Coach, best of luck. Hopefully the success continues. Stay healthy, and hopefully we can talk to you guys down the stretch if that works.
Nope, that sounds good. Really appreciate it. And if you're coming tonight, Davenport North does have one of the best concession stands in the MAC.
Oh.
So I got to throw that plug out there. So there's a few that are at the top of the list, and North is at the top of the list there. So get yourself something good.
And I have to point this out. They also have the useless knowledge of Brian Stocking as the PA guy. So he will also
stockpile.
have.
Hey, I went over there and I'm talking to Karstens, and I said, here's a lineup for you and Stockpile over there. And he's like, well, Stockpile's not doing baseball tonight. He's doing softball. I'm thinking, what is this? Just hoping we were having Stockpile. So
I think you get him tonight.
Maybe we'll have him over there.
I think you get him.
Yep,
so
always.
he'll announce random nonsense, and some of it is Stockpile Gold, and some of it is Stockpile Fool's Gold, where it's just kind of made up nonsense. That he's my favorite. I always say to him, and it's not true, but he's always like, Davenport North is undefeated when scoring more runs than their opponent, and I'm like, that just some of those kind of stats he has with them. But I love Stockpile. Coach, best of luck tonight. Get some wins, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks,
All right.
Matt. Have a good one.
You too. That is Derek Stecklein, the head coach over at Pleasant Valley. Great matchup tonight in the MAC between Pleasant Valley and Davenport North. 1-8-0, Pleasant Valley 8-0, and Davenport North 7-1 on the season. Well, we have much more to get to here on today's show. Coming up next, we're going to switch gear and go to some high school football. We're going to catch up with Greg Armstrong from View from the West, a new football coach at Sherrard we haven't talked about with him. There's going to be a new football coach at Alleman today at 3 o'clock. And also we kind of have a little announcement about a tease of an announcement about what might be coming up, because football season is right around the corner, believe it or not. So Greg Armstrong and much more straight ahead on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves.
Hey guys, this is former Hawkeye Jake Gervais inviting you to the 5th annual Rally for Reed football camp.
Go, run, run, run.
This year's 5th annual Rally for Reed football camp will take place on Friday, June 27th at Jack and Pat Bush Stadium at Davenport Assumption High School. Come learn the game of football from several familiar faces.
1, 2, 3, go, Tucker!
All while honoring the life and legacy of Reed Gleason, and also raising money for the Rally for Reed Foundation and the continued fight against pediatric cancer. There will also be a spirit camp the same day hosted at St. Ambrose University. To sign up or get involved, check out rallyforreed.org and make a donation or sign up for the camp. Thanks.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Please do that. Go check out rallyforreed.org. Get signed up. The camp is June 27th. So we are slowly 10 days away, something like that. So go check it out. Great time. Jake Gervais, one of the best in the business. Plenty of former Hawkeyes there as well. Learn the game from some of them and help raise money for a fantastic cause. Of course, that means a football camp, which means football has to kind of, sort of be around the corner. So I made Greg Armstrong get out of bed. He usually sleeps his summers away. Where did you do with your kids? I'm worried about him.
No, so I was going to say, I don't at the present moment have a studio audience, but it may happen at some point in this discussion. I sent them, you know how it goes. I sent them to their room, sent them downstairs, and so we'll see how this goes. Now, a little peek behind the curtain here. The View from the West podcast studio, that's putting it nicely. That's making it sound very fancy. That's actually my wife's office. Oh. Well, when I got to do this with you at 11 a.m., that office is occupied. So yeah. I'm making it work here,
No, and that's the beauty part is I just give my kids, they know every day and it gets worse because the show starts at 10, but I go upstairs at like 8:30 and start trying to get ready and stuff. So it's like, here's your iPads. Don't bother dad till 11:30 or noon. So parenting at its finest. This is not a parenting podcast, Greg. If it was, neither one of us would be hosting it. It'd be somebody else, but it's somebody else's. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for hopping on. It's weird, man, because football season is fast. We were just talking with Ked to start the show. College football's right on the corner. I know you're nuts. You have a countdown, but it's got to be less than about 2 months away, 8 weeks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, especially like I kind of view it differently now, maybe than I ever used to, because like we'll start, doing all the preseason prep work in the next month. So it's like, it kind of already has started for me. It always kind of kicks off. It's funny that you had me on today because I just posted yesterday our kind of hype video for next season. It takes all the best stuff we saw.
That gave me the idea. That gave me the idea. I saw it and I said, oh crap, I should see if Greg wants to come on. So go on.
Yeah, no. So that's, I'm a sucker for the end of the year, highlight video or any kind of hype video. So that's always one of my favorite projects. I would say it takes more time than I'd like to admit. And it often, how it goes, by the time we get done doing stuff at night, get kids to bed, this house is finally quiet and I can sit down and edit. It's I'm about falling asleep trying to edit it, but we got it done. And I always love putting it out this time of year because it's in Illinois, spring sports wrap up. So it's kind of there's that shift, where it's you have the summer months, but I think everything's kind of now gearing towards football and the fall sports. That's where the camps are. That's where stuff's happening. So I'm ready. That video kind of kicks us off. So we're ready to go.
No, it's crazy. I remember you would get to the John Deere Classic and then it was get rested and get ready because it's time to rock and roll. I do want to talk to you before I talk about football. We had several coaches that you like or dislike. We'll see. You can tell us. Nick Welch, John Schlemmer, Coach LeMay, all of them came out to the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing. I even said to them, I tried everything to convince Greg to come out, but he just didn't like my dad. He just said I can't do it because I'm kidding. No, you had baseball. I get it. I understand it. But it got competitive between Coach Schlemmer and Coach Welch. I'm sure that does not surprise you.
I was going to say, you took the words right out of my mouth because that doesn't surprise me at all, So no, I got to know then who won. I mean, don't throw anybody under the bus here, but
we'll take you behind the curtain. And we were going to have both of them on today to kind of talk about it. And I think Coach Schlemmer won, and he's supposed to have to wear, Nick is supposed to wear Sterling gear for a round of golf.
Okay.
Now, I suggested he wears Sterling gear at the Western Big Six Coaches Banquet.
Oh man.
And then he's Nick, he can, believe it or not, he can be a little fiery. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
And so he's like, absolutely not. I said, how about just wear a hat when you get when they're up to talk? You don't even have to stand up, but when John goes up to talk, he hands you a Sterling hat, and you have to wear it while he's talking.
Man, I like it. I mean, that's putting some high stakes on a round of golf. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's what's cool, and then Coach LeMay came down as well, which is awesome. But and you've seen it. There's rivalries and every coach wants to win and all that kind of stuff. But there really is a bond between a lot of the coaches in the community because they go through the same thing. And I know you've seen it firsthand as well. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, the Western Big Six, I feel like from conferences I've seen around our area and then my little dealings with conferences around the state, I think it is a pretty unique fraternity inside the Western Big Six because, it's the schools in this metro area with all of this rich history. And you look at coaches like Schlemmer and Welch and Morrissey. And before, Coach Johnson was in Geneseo, there were coaches that had been around for a long time, right? So, and even Coach Little in Quincy, they're not as closely connected because of the distance of where Quincy's at. But you had a lot of coaches that had been doing this for a long time. And so, yeah, I think there is kind of a unique bond over, they're going through the same things, different schools, a little bit different programs, but the end goal is the same and they're competing against each other. And I think that's what makes, this sport so much fun. And that's what makes, I think, high school athletics so much fun compared to a lot of the, AAU or the travel ball. I think that you get these unique rivalries and their friendships, off the field. And I think Schlemmer and Welch would both say they hope United Township or Sterling wins every other game except theirs, right? So I think that's the fun rivalries and the friendships that come along with it.
They both definitely want to beat Moline. I think that's the thing I learned is they both definitely want to beat Mike Morrissey and Moline. I want to talk to you because we haven't probably talked since the announcement of Dan McGuire, the new head coach at Sherrard. On the show a couple weeks ago, it's an interesting hire. I think it's a great hire, but you don't normally see a guy who coaches for 25 years and then literally doesn't coach for 25 years get back into it. I'm intrigued to see how it all goes. I think it'll go well, and I love seeing the excitement that he had because you could tell he was super excited to get back on the sidelines and do something he loved doing. What were your thoughts of what Sherrard came up with and Dan McGuire?
So yeah, Mitch and I will talk about it on our podcast, when we preview Sherrard, but this hire reminded me a lot of Ottawa Marquette and back in 2010 hiring Coach Tom Yups, who he just retired a year or two ago. Little bit different circumstance. He hadn't been out of the game quite as long, but it was similar in the fact that he had been a coach. He had been a coach at Ottawa High School and then stepped away because he got into an administrative role, similar to McGuire stepping away and going athletic director route and going more of the administration route, but always having that love for football. And when I talked to Coach Yupst in his interview, he was always there, and he was always following, and he thought he wanted to get back to it, but it just, the timing wasn't right in the moment, So I think he wasn't checked out. Coach McGuire wasn't the same way that Tom Yupst wasn't. And so I'm very interested to see what I liked about the hire looking back long term is that Tom Yupst for Marquette totally dedicated himself to that school, to that program. He was retired. This is all his focus, right? He was 100% dialed in. And he said that, Coach McGuire had a very similar message to you and to Ty Taylor on WRMJ that when he does anything, he doesn't do it halfway. He dives all in. So I think that's what really excites me, right? Is it's not, I know there is excitement if you get a young coach who has a lot of great ideas and is willing to jump in. But I think for this hire to have the experience, to be retired and know that I'm not worried about teaching, I'm not worried about anything else going on. I'm committed 100% to this job. So I see similarities there, and it's different programs. Marquette was at the time getting smaller, and they left what was the Big Rivers, Three Rivers at the time. And I think in the long run, that was a better fit for them. competitively. Now, obviously, Sherrard's not going to leave the Three Rivers. They're there. They're going to have to find a way to compete in a very tough conference. But I think looking at it in general, I love that Coach McGuire has the experience. He's veteran savvy, and he can step in and 100% commit to it.
Yeah, 100%. Another coaching hire will happen today. 3:00, Alleman is announcing their head football coach. I know who it is, Greg, but I can't tell you. I can't. I've been sworn to let them. I want them to make their announcement at 3:00 and all that kind of stuff. I will have Coach on the show tomorrow. So if you're wondering who that might be, we'll have them on the show tomorrow. But it's just, and I think things will go well. I know a little more than most, and I think things are going to go well, and I'm excited about it. But it is June 17th. I mean, that's just you're announcing a football coach on June 17th. They've had great people in there. Scott Morrell is one of obviously the basketball coach, helping out on the football side as well. And some of the coaches the assistants have stayed and helped keep things rolling in the right direction. But I mean, it's June 17th, and a little different to have a June 17th announcement.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird late time in the process, but I think, same thing I said back when we talked about this Alleman coaching change, you really got to hope for what Coach Schmolbach built as a foundation, that was strong enough to maintain through this, right? That whoever the new coach stepping in is can pick up right from where he left off. So I think we were, looking back at it, pretty satisfied with the way the process was going. So you got to hope that maintains through this change. The players are still bought in. The assistant coaches are still there to kind of keep that same message moving forward. And you hope for the best, right? I mean, I would say that about any program. We said it about Riverdale a few years ago. You just want to see them get back to competitive football. Yeah. No one wants to see a program that's out there that can't compete, that's just, it's no fun for anybody. So, yeah, I hope that who the hire is, I'll be watching like everyone else now.
I can't believe they can convince Nick Saban. I mean, I was shocked. Oh, shoot, I gave it away. Son of a gun.
That is amazing.
No, and I will say this, too, is there is a good foundation, and the vast majority of the coaches that were there with Coach Schmalbach are staying, and I think that's going to help everything along too. And numbers are up at Alleman High School. I'll tell everybody that Alleman is doing well when it comes to enrollment and moving in the right direction with that. So exciting times as well. What's the schedule look like for View from the West? Because this is, I know you guys are already doing it, but you're knocking out. I saw Adolphson on there, which always chuckles because it's just you two buddies talking. It's like, hey, let's just record a conversation. But always good stuff with that. And that's with a lot of them, which is very cool about what you guys do. But you mentioned the plotting and the planning is going on, and we have lunch tomorrow. Should we tell people we have lunch tomorrow? We have an announcement next week.
Big planning meeting tomorrow to kind of set things up and kind of make some final decisions on, I think, what could be a long-term collaboration. So more to come on that. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. And it was cool because you're like, hey, I want to take you to lunch. You want to go to Johnny's? And I was like, absolutely. So thank you for that. Like, I'm excited about that. No, so I'm really excited because, and you know this, and I'll say this, there's not a person, and I'll group everybody, I'm not trying to be nice, that loves high school football more than Greg Armstrong. Like you loved high school sports and covering the area and all that kind of stuff, but like high school sports was it, or high school football was it. And so I thought I'm the same way. I'm not quite to that level, but like I loved high school football season. So in order to think of things that we can do and be creative and all that kind of stuff is really exciting moving forward. But just View from the West wise, there's coaches interviews up there. Previews are going to be starting. All these kind of things are rocking and rolling soon.
Yeah, so Mitch has been coordinating an interview.
Is Mitch still doing it?
Oh, Mitch he's locked in 100%.
You're going to love. I just tweeted and I said, that's what I was doing while you were talking one of the times. I said, chatting with at Greg Armstrong, -- not Mitch from View from the West right now. So I have to give him, because he wants to be on the show, I heard.
I almost sabotaged this whole interview and just forwarded him the link and said, hey, hop on real quick.
Oh, it would have been great. It would have been great. Oh, it's coming. Trust me. It's going to be. That's
All
the
right.
beauty, too, is like, I mean, I can envision Thursdays and Fridays a segment being with the View from the West guys. And that's some of the stuff we're going to continue to do and all those kind of things. Mitch will get his, believe it or not, in April, there's no reason to have Mitch on. Like, you know. So, anyways, talk about what you're doing.
There's always good stories to have Mitch on. He can tell you things.
That's true.
He's got stories. So, Mitch is coordinating an interview with head coach of the Fulton Steamers, Pat Lower. So if you've been following along the interview progress here that we've had throughout the offseason, we talked to Farmington head coach Toby Vallis, who told a story about when he played against the Alito Green Dragons and Pat Lower and Jeremy Adolphson in a game. And there was an infamous moment in the game where Coach Vallis, the running back for Knoxville, getting beat, getting demoralized by the Alito Green Dragon powerhouse at the time. He tells a story that he was tackled, his shoe was ripped off his foot and thrown to the sideline. Now he says that it was Pat Lower that did it. There was a bit of discussion back and forth. Jeremy Adolphson, who was also on the team, on the field at the time, had a different take on all that. So we're going to get the final word now from Pat Lower on who threw Toby Vallis' shoe. We got to figure this out, right? It's
like
been 30 years ago.
It's almost like a Scooby-Doo mystery. Who threw the shoe? I love it.
Exactly. So we'll talk to Pat Lower about that and a lot of other things. Obviously, he's been at. You realize that the Fulton Steamers have only had 2 head football coaches since I believe 1990.
Wow. So how long has he been there?
He's been there, I think, since 2007 or 08.
Okay. Wow.
And before that, it was Jim Proud who led them to at least 1 state title. Without looking offhand, I'm trying to remember.
How about
they
this?
They were a great football program.
Who's the longest tenured head coach in our area right now? At the same spot.
That's a great question.
And don't go up to your... Stay in the conferences that I know is all I ask.
Well, I would say Jade Nord has been around since 05 at Stark County.
Yeah. Gosh, there's got to be.
And Larry Johnson at Geneseo until he just retired or stepped down.
How long Schlemmer been there?
Schlemmer's been there. I know that Greg King was there until 2008, 2009, 2010.
And then they finally decided to get serious about football, and they got rid of Greg King. No, I'm kidding, Kinger. I'm kidding. I'll post that and send it to him just to make sure he knows that I'm giving him a hard time. Yeah, I'm trying to go through it because not Morrissey, not Alleman. Chip's been around for a minute.
Yeah, but I would say 2005 is when I got to the area, and Jade Nord started that same year. I'm trying to think of anybody else that's been there all the way through my whole time in the Quad Cities area. Yeah. It might be Jade Nord from Stark County.
That could be.
Great
that
coach,
could be.
Great program.
Yeah, fantastic dude. So all of those can be checked out at View from the West. When will I'm putting you on the spot with stuff because some of this we'll probably discuss tomorrow and all that kind of stuff as well. But previews come up soon. You do a preview for every conference. Did you ever get out to any 7-on-7?
Not yet. If it happens, it would happen maybe hopefully in like mid-July.
Okay.
We'll see. You know how it is. Like every weekend is baseball tournament. Every night is dance or baseball or it's I always feel like I have this golden dream version of summer that's like, I'm just going to have this time off. So I'm not working. And it just never pans out that way.
It's crazy that it's already June 17th. Like I said to my wife today, I'm like, they're a month into the summer. Like next thing you know, it's going to be the 4th of July, which is the halfway point. And then we're talking football and all that crazy stuff as well. So, no, it's a super great time of year. Tell people how to get all the podcasts and all that kind of stuff as well.
I was going to say, I just mapped out a schedule of our podcasts coming up. They will start in maybe mid-July, and we'll really jump in and start doing weekly previews. This year, something we're going to do a little bit different is I want to kind of contact and make some connections with what I'll call like our conference insiders. So we have different conferences that we're going to reach out to certain individuals. Obviously, from the Northwest Upstate Illini, Kyle Kampmeyer has been our insider for years, right? He's one of the one of the reasons I started this podcast in our
Three
area,
Rivers, Ty Taylor. Three Rivers, Ty Taylor.
It could be, absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't he just like, he's such the better Taylor? Like, that's the one thing. I mean, he's such a breath of fresh air when it comes to that last name, right?
I love Jim. I love Ty. The whole Taylor crew. So
you're such a politician.
I know, absolutely. So, but yeah, the other exciting news for us, like I said, we'll have these conference insiders. We're in the works right now, coordinating a conference insider for the Big Northern Conference. So that's the conference kind of near the Rockford-ish area. But what's really exciting is it brings in Byron, brings in Dixon, some schools that are kind of always on the fringe for us because we get close to them. I'm really excited for that. We've had people from the Dixon area reach out to us, and they watch what we do. They've seen what we do. So Mitch and I kind of discussed it. And we're gonna jump in and start covering some Big Northern Conference because looking a year ahead, Durand, Pecatonica, Dupec will move to that conference for football. So it makes sense. They're moving out there. We're going to move out that way as well. So we'll have a conference insider for that conference, and we'll start jumping into those previews. Like I said, sometime around mid-July, and they'll be off and rolling, through the month of August, and then the season goes.
It's soon going to be changed to the name of View from Everywhere Besides Chicago. No, I'm kidding.
Kind of. Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, I and that's the thing is they all like Byron. Like, how many times has Byron played Princeton or something like that?
They've played Dupec over the years. They played Princeton.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
so
Dixon is right there as well.
Yeah. For some of their playoff runs, we were talking about Byron anyway, because they were just kind of crossing over into our area. As you know, it's a great football program. It's a great football community. So actually their running back right now, Caden Considine, his dad, Sean Considine, former Iowa Hawkeye and NFL football player. So
and I think didn't he recently get an offer or a preferred walk-on offer at Iowa?
Could be. Yeah, I believe I saw that. Yep.
Yeah.
He's a great athlete all the way around. Great football player. He's been a, impact player on that Byron football team since he was a freshman. Sure. And, he's, continues to do it. So anyway, that's an exciting kind of add-on this year, but we'll be covering your traditional Western Big Six, Three Rivers, Lincoln Land, Northwest Upstate Illini, the Big Northern, like I said, 8-man football, all from the northwestern side of the state of Illinois. You can find us on YouTube, search View from the West podcast. You can find us, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find us, search View from the West. Also on X and on Instagram. So if you haven't seen it yet, go out on X right now is our kind of hype video coming for the next season. We look back at all the best highlights from a year ago to kind of get you excited for the upcoming season. That will be coming to YouTube probably today as well. And so you can find it on anywhere. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get through the summer and let's get to football season. All right, Greg, we'll sneak into your wife's office, grab her checkbook. I'll see you for lunch tomorrow.
Hey, before I let you go, like I said, I've been living my life on the baseball fields. We were at the Hitmen complex over the weekend. Man, I saw the oldest Randazzo boy doing some serious manual labor. It's more manual labor than I've ever seen you do in the whole time I've known you. So
he busts his butt off. I know he doesn't.
He does.
I mean, he really, and it's cool because he told me one day, he goes, I'm tired of people taking pictures of me and saying, I'm going to send this to your dad. And he has no idea who they are. I think one day it was Kevin Fracking. You might have been with him.
It was.
Yeah.
I was.
But that's one of several. He's just like, some idiot took my picture today and said he's going to send it to my dad. I'm like, I'm sorry. But no, he does. Hey, I did mention that we were going to talk a little White Sox. And the reason why I want to bring that up is because I kind of forgot about him a little bit. And all I know is that my dad's golf outing, Pete Kunico, legendary White Sox fan, but very pessimistic. We call him Pessimistic Pete, said that he's starting to get interested about White Sox baseball again.
Well, so for someone who's pessimistic to say they're interested, I would agree, because I would say I always fall somewhere in the middle. Like I'm realistic, right? Like I get it. I didn't think we were going to be good this year, but compared to last year, there is more entertaining baseball being played than a year ago. So I will say that the wins aren't racking up by any means, but you got a couple flashes of they won a series or they won a couple games against Detroit. I believe they won the series against the Royals. Like, there's little things, right? You're seeing some things that are exciting. I will say, one kind of sneaky move is trading Andrew Vaughn for this Savale from Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've read, is there's a chance the White Sox are now trying to flip Savale to a playoff contender at the deadline to get whatever you can get, any kind of prospect.
Sure.
In my opinion, that's a win all the way around. Andrew Vaughn was done. He's been sent to AAA after spending 3 years in the majors. He's done. He's not going to make an impact with us anymore. We have players playing first base that have stepped in. So what do? Like, I think that's a great move, right? Like, the Brewers were in a situation where they had a guy demanding a trade, didn't want to be there. So they make the deal, see if they can do something with Andrew Vaughn. I think it's a good move for the Sox. It's a small move. It goes under the radar, but it could be a good deal.
They did a good job of setting the bar extremely low. And so that's what it's like. It's like me saying my ears are looking good today because look at Dumbo. Like, I mean, it's all relatively speaking. But no, I do. Pete is a very pessimistic human being. It's the second worst thing I've said about him. You should hear the joke I said I'll tell you off the air. But I sometimes people shouldn't hand me a microphone after the end of a long round of golf because you don't know the things that are going to come out of my mouth. But all right, buddy, I'll see you tomorrow for lunch. I appreciate you.
All right, sounds good.
All right, that is Greg Armstrong from View from the West. Man, football season is right around the corner. And a reminder, I'll be announcing their new head coach today at a press conference at 3 p.m. We're hoping to have the new head coach on the show with us tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So we got a little more to get to here on a Tuesday. We'll be right back right after this. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. It's been a fun, busy Tuesday as well. Ked Prince joined us off the talk a little Illini athletics, several things going on with the basketball and football program. So go check out our interview and our chat with Ked Prince. Also, great to catch up with Derek Stecklein, one of my favorites. Haven't got to see him yet this year. Obviously doing a little different job these days. So great to catch up with him. A great matchup in the MAC tonight between Pleasant Valley and Davenport North. So if you're looking for some good baseball, go check out that as well. And then, of course, Greg Armstrong hopping on with me to talk about high school football season coming right around the corner. Later this week, Shauna Green, hopefully, that is the plan. The Illinois women's head basketball coach, also Clinton native Shauna Green, with us sometime this week as well. And then also tomorrow, Steam Wheeler Wednesday. The Wheelers now 9-2, rocking and rolling. We'll catch up with the Wheelers, and also hoping to catch up with Alleman's new head coach for football. That announcement, that press conference coming today at 3 p.m. So I'm not saying anything right now, but that announcement coming very soon later on today. So I want to thank you guys for watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday. I want to thank our sponsors for helping us do this each and every day. And we'll be back with another episode of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo coming up tomorrow. We'll see you then.